We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Ethan Bonner, Miami Dolphins corner. And I actually think, like, out of these young guys in this room, you look at this corner room, there's a lot of people on here that are, really fighting for a spot. And I think Bonner is my top of the list of the young guys that have, like, seen some playing time, whether it's regular season, preseason. I actually think, like, he's shown the most promise, in my opinion, and actually deserves to be given a chance. Because last year, I don't think he was really given a chance to play. He showed a lot of promise his rookie year. He looked good in the preseason. I think when you compare him to the people that have played, I think he outmatches them in a lot of different traits. And, I think he's a very good athlete. I feel like him and Duck are the best of the two that have seen some playing time. And Duck does a lot of things well, but I think Bonner shows, like, more coverage versatility in terms of being able to play, like, man and zone. I think his athleticism's even a tier above. Really, really good athlete. Has quality size to his game as well. Good speed to play on the outside. I also think he has some positional versatility. Hasn't really had a chance to play in other spots either, but I think he can play even as, like, a nickel safety stuff. He's willing to get down, be physical, get involved versus the run. Made some plays in that Chiefs playoffs game, which were pretty impressive. And he's got really good, like, explosiveness. Like, he can transition really well. I feel like when he gets stuck in transition, it's more to do with, like, poor technique. But there's a lot to like with his game in terms of instincts, reactive athleticism, some play speed. Ethan Bonner, I mean, yeah. One of the only white corners of the league, which, doesn't really mean anything, but it is always funny when, people bring that stuff up. But, like, there is a lot of athleticism, explosiveness, gets downhill in a hurry. I think Bonner kind of got underrated. And I think next year going with a, maybe more man could get him some opportunities too, even though I think, he probably could have seen some playing time last year. But, like, here, this was his rookie year as a UDFA. Just really smooth in his pedal. I feel like this is an area where he stands out to me, is where he's in his pedal right here, and he's able to just cleanly stick that foot in the ground and transition downhill and close on Alan Lazard, make a good play, show some ball skills, really clean out of his break there, athleticism. This is what you want to see from reactive athleticism. And he shows some instincts too before the receiver even breaks. He's starting to slow down and anticipate this. So I think a decent combination of, like, processing and, explosiveness there for Bonner. And then he makes the play through. He has the size, sort of length, physicality too, to finish at the catch point. First, Alan Lazard, who's like an NFL level receiver. And then here's some preseason stuff. That first preseason game, he did a pretty good job in this one. Good job on a vertical play. And it's tough to beat him deep. Like, we've heard the team talk about him, the receivers. He's very fast. He's got a lot of speed. He can play press man. He's comfortable staying patient at the line and, opening up his hips late because he's comfortable with that speed. Look at him, like, gain that ground. Like, he's in phase, but he's able to get back to even with the receiver there very, very quickly and doesn't give him a chance. That's a good rep. Down in the red zone, playing with good patience, staying square, maintains his positioning, leverage, ball gets thrown out of the way, but he just doesn't allow any separation on the fade. Really good rep there. Love the ability to place a little bit of square. I think, technique-wise, he can play with better, like, bend and lean at times. I think he can get, like, a little too waist bendy, as you'll see in some of these reps. There's a lot to like. Another clean transition after opening up his hips, sinking those hips, and then boom. Look at him, physicality through the receiver, blow up this play. Patrick Morris gets the tackle, makes a really good play there. But Bonner on the boundary, like, makes an exciting one. I think if Bonner's given a fair chance this season and, like, actually gets playing time on the field, like, I don't know, maybe he was getting, like, other guys were practicing better than him, and that's why he never got a chance. But I think if he's given a chance in the game and you put him on, like, against a lot of those other guys, whether it's Storm Duck, Isaiah Johnson, we don't know what we have out of the rookies yet. We'll see what they end up showing on the field. But I think Bonner's shown more in his snaps, in my opinion, than some of the other people. And I think he would, like, actually probably hold on to it if he was given a chance during those seasons. But also make sure to leave a like on the video. Join up as a member if you want early access, all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. It helps out. Here we got Bonner getting physical, impressed, try to throw off the route timing. He's playing some zone cover 2. He's leveraging both of these concepts. There's a receiver here, and then the flat. And then once he sees Penix commit to the receiver, he's able to close that ground real quickly, limit the yak opportunities, keep that just to a few yard gain after, kind of slowing down what's going on there, make that tackle. He's definitely a guy that's willing to make tackles. I think this is another area I like him is being able to play with good processing and zone. Like look at him pass this off. Once like he makes an undercall here, basically communicating to this defender right here, this flat defender. And once he reads number one, work underneath, he makes an undercall. This linebacker takes it. He finds number two, who ends up working into his zone, and it's just really, really smooth doing that. Like seeing that from Bonner from that perspective, because I feel like that's somewhere the Dolphins kind of struggled last year was communication in their zone coverages, and I think from the limited times we've seen Bonner in those spots, he usually ends up making pretty heads up plays, and that's not something we really saw from a lot of the young guys in this past season, even in a lot of the veterans too. There are times Bonner will lose. He has some recovery speed. Like here, he kind of opens up his hips, allows the receiver to work into his blind spot. Tough ass to be, isolated like this, but he gets opened up. You do see nice fluidity, though, to flip his hips, get back into position, kind of recover late. The ball's out late. It doesn't end up being a completion. I think the receiver, catches it out of bounds. But it was a nice route by him. He gives up a little bit of separation here. So, but at least he does have recovery ability. I think that's important. I think that's always an important trait for, I think, O-linemen and corners, because you're asked to do some of the toughest jobs. You're going to have your losses, and, you're going to mess up at times, not do things perfectly. Having the ability to recover can help out a lot in situations. This is like the one rep he like truly lost. But if you go back and watch this, like look at this. Like this guy literally grabs his face mask. The receiver grabs his face mask. You can see the hand right there and pulls him down. So then he ends up beating him vertically. They didn't end up calling that, but it was the only time I really saw Bonner have anyone get past him vertically, and the guy, pulled on his face mask. So I'm not really too concerned about that. I think the rest of his reps versus vertical routes, whether it's preseason, regular season, were all pretty nice. Here's, here later in that preseason versus the Buccaneers, carrying vertically down the field, leaving him isolated on the backside of this. This is what you want to see from your corners in the preseason. Let them go to work. Boom. Open up those hips, kind of mirror match the pace. You can see he's kind of, the receiver's giving a little hesitation there. Bonner sort of matches it just in case he breaks. Once the guy commits fully, now Bonner stays in that. He's in the hip pocket, doesn't allow any separation. Really kind of textbook rep there. Here in that Chiefs playoff game late in the game, he forces the fumble coming downhill. I think he can be a guy that gets involved as a run fit. This is where I'm like, I think he could play some nickel. I think he's got the instincts. I think he's got enough short area athleticism. I think he's willing to fit versus the run. And then you get downhill, make a tackle, force that fumble. Pretty nice work there. Here in that first year regular season versus the Jets, again, another clean transition. Pretty good feet, maybe, starts to mirror match. Takes maybe a little bit of false steps there, gets back into position, and boom, sticks out, breaks on that outbreaker. Pretty comfortable, I think, when he's from like off man or he's playing in like quarters. When the guys break in front of him, whether it's inside, outside, I think he does a pretty good job fielding those routes and closing, taking those like 45-degree breaks. I think he's pretty comfortable in those transitions. Here's sort of another example of it where like he doesn't do a terrible job, gets maybe a little bit here. And I think this is an example where like his transitions can get a little bit caught, but this is, you can just tell, poor body lean. Like he's leaning way too over the top with he's bending at the waist. I think when he can play with, a little more knee bend, his chest is a little bit higher. I think that's when his transitions are super clean. I've seen this a few times on tape throughout his, first 2 years where he did play with like not the greatest technique, proper positioning, like body positioning. So I think that's something he can work on, but that is all very, very teachable. And even though it did there, it wasn't like he was way out of position, balls thrown and incomplete. Here's another example. Bonner weaving to maintain leverage. He's got his inside leverage guy, tags hard to the inside. Look at him weave to get back to his leverage. Get back to being square, good body lane, and then boom, break across the middle. Ball doesn't get thrown his way, but that's a pretty good rep. In man-to-man versus Rashee Rice. Tough ass because he's outside leverage. Guy's in tight positioning, and he runs the shallow cross. So Bonner has to work around this, and he still makes a pretty good play. You get to see the speed to get around, closing speed, great angle, help make that tackle in a playoff game. While this game still like was intense, like he's coming in an important part of the game, they need to get a stop. I think Rice ends up getting that first down, but Bonner doesn't play this horribly from what he was asked to do in this situation. It's a very tough ask from where he was aligned, and like that play could have been a lot worse from what we've seen. And then Bonner just filling versus the run. He's definitely willing to get involved, come downhill. I don't know. I think Bonner, looking at the secondary, looking at the corner group, I think once Ramsey leaves, like, in my opinion, after Kohu, I think Bonner is one of the top guys. I think he deserves a chance. I don't think he got that chance last year. Didn't really play during the regular season, like, at all. I think he played, like, 1 he played at the end of, like, 1 or 2 games, barely any snaps, though. And I think he could actually show more than, maybe some of what we're expecting from the other guys, so that's kind of where I'm at with Bonner. Another clean transition downhill. He's very good at limiting yak opportunities. Uh, like, they throw that quick out, guy catches it at 30. He doesn't get anything after the catch. Like, yeah, he's giving up the catch here underneath. That's gonna happen, nothing too crazy, like, give him free yards, but nothing after the fact, and he finishes through the guy. Here versus screen from depth, Bonner closes downhill, helps make that tackle on the. I believe that's even might be a running back that they threw that to, but make that tackle and limit the yak opportunities. That's a big part of Bonner's game. Here's another example after this screen, playing in press versus this one. Get up, bump and run. He sees that it's a screen. Identify, dip, avoid the blocker, dip underneath it, and then help make the tackle near the line of scrimmage. Another just sort of good, like, I think the active, the athleticism, the mental side of the game's there. I think he's got the physical side of the game to hold up at the NFL level. Like, I think he's got kind of all three. Uh, and if you just, like, give him that chance to, sort of show it. And I remember, like, last year during the preseason, Chris Greer was even saying, like, teams offered, like, they were trying to trade for Ethan Bonner. Like, teams offered draft picks for him. That shows you that there's other teams in the league that view Bonner, like, as an asset. At least they did last year. And if they Dolphins were into, like, cutting Bonner, like, that means he would definitely get picked up. Like, I think he's clearly an NFL level talent from what he's shown. It's just I don't know why last year him not getting a chance, especially when you had some corner injuries, and Duck was seeing a ton of playing time. Other guys were going in and out of the lineup. I'm not sure why Bonner never really saw the field, but he started off this year. At the first OTA, he had the orange jersey. That means, I mean, sometimes that means nothing, but usually in the eyes of the coaches, that means, like, he's at least, doing something right. So hopefully that means he'll get some more opportunities. So if you guys are doing, like, comment, subscribe,